This is Mgtow. Now, the one particular thing of today's topic is this, and well, I'm not going to really put it as a topic, really, but let's put it this way. Many of you simps out there don't realize that you're essentially wasting away your life, wasting away your humanity and your self preservation for yourself and within yourself to please the woman, when really the woman more often than not doesn't like you and is only using you for her own selfish and self-righteous benefits. The basic fact is that let's put it this way: McHenry, the so-called McHenry Cruiser, what he calls himself to be the Mgtow Slayer. And what he doesn't realize is that we've had Emily, the Mgtow Slayer. And she eventually gave up, from what I gather. And also, I can tell you right now, McHenry, I have used my knowledge and my knowledge in psychiatry to show that I was being, one, sincere. Two, I was being truthful and honest and logical. Three, seeing that I am known on Logical Mgtow as Logical Mgtow Spock, the basic fact is that it is understandable that you and many other simp blue pills that don't understand or truly like Mgtow, and yet you think by hating Mgtow and trying to downgrade Mgtow in our members, you're doing a public service. You're not doing a public service for the woman because they can care less about you, blue-pilled simps, manginas, and they still think that their pussies are made of gold. That they are worth more than you alone. That they are more entitled than you, and that's the only goal that they have, is to be more entitled than us men. Yet like I said, the base of entitlements doesn't go either way for man or woman. It doesn't raise higher for the man, and it doesn't raise higher for the woman. Thereby, it still stays in one thing, 50-50. And several years ago, starting from the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s, it was seen as such and believed as such that the entitlement base has been like this. It's been like that since even, I'd say, since the 60s, but between the teenage aspect and whatnot, and the 20-year-old aspect has been going to the point of gradually escaping that. Okay, but the basic fact is this: it's been more than escaping it by women expecting more than what's realistically possible. Thereby, of course, they got to the points to where, when it came to the Democratic Party, for example, starting with before and during and after Obama, okay, that women thought that they would, and if they would support and like the government, be that run by the Liberal Party, that they would get what they want and what they expect and what they feel that they're entitled to. When they found out that they weren't getting it, the females started hating the damn Democrats and the government in general. And while they were liking the government, though, I can easily add into, is that they thought, oh, we women really don't need men. Lo and behold, when they started hating the government, men started going, we men don't need you feminist women, you overbearing, controlled, manipulating women. Right when the women started noticing that, they're like dismayed, dumbfounded, shocked. And even more so when more men, starting with the base of Tom Likas and Mgtow, many men started going by what Tom Likas has taught us, the men. Um, be that by using also a good portion, if not the full portion percentage of the Mgtow philosophy. And then many men started going to Mgtow. Then of course the feminist and Me Too movements started getting more enraged because the females started getting more enraged. And in between that, the feminist and Me Too movement started changing their beliefs and whatnot else and what they should go by. And each time they tried to do different aspects, they started going after men in the Mgtow philosophy and the grouping. And in many ways, Mgtow is not simply a grouping; it is a philosophy. I can tell you, even many of our brothers of Mgtow have said it's not just a grouping; it's a philosophy. Mostly, more often than not, it's a philosophy. But the basic fact is that women still keep on doing the very thing that they have been doing and expecting us men to go back to the plantation. No. Many of us men, outside of McHenry and many others that are blue pilled and simps and think that they can destroy Mgtow when they can't. So they cannot destroy a worldwide global supporting male dominated grouping in who help each other through things, especially, and have helped and have saved lives. Because as even one of our members, and he shall be named nameless, essentially, um, he has said that we have saved lives because is simply when it comes to a particular breakup and divorce. Yes, men do get emotional, psychologically speaking, but the basic fact is that men go to the point to where if they see they can't be around their children in who they love more than themselves, then they essentially go to the points to where the points of suicide, and yet they were essentially dumbfounded and snookered into things that they thought that the woman said that was going to be truthful. Oh yeah, we'll support each other and we'll love each other for all life and beyond, and we'll never leave each other's side. We'll never disappoint each other. And in between, yet even with difficulties and differences, the woman ends up cheating on the dude. Then it comes back eventually, even before they marry, even if at all they marry. Then the woman expects the guy to automatically forgive her for cheating on him. And many of you Sims have gone that way of forgiving her, and thereby also what you don't realize, and many women have done this. After you forgive them for cheating on you, you don't know how dangerous the dating world is out there now, do you? Because you can easily contract the very thing that your woman or even ex-wife has possibly given you, and it doesn't always show right off the bat after a few weeks or so. It's a very terminal and timely thing that will give you signs of sorts within your system as you live your life. But the basic fact is that we're not saying that you should end your life either, though. But the basic fact is that many of you have gotten to the points of even what's known as a psychological depression. We Mgtow can help you. Who knows psychology pretty darn well, can help you through things. And also, the basic fact is that we can help you understand women a lot better than you think you do. But of course, people, the blue-pilled simps and mangenas like McHenry, obviously think that they know women, so they'll act like they're the king of bootylicious or whatever the hell else, and yet what you blue-pilled simps that believe the same thing as McHenry, the Mgtow Slayer, essentially, he believes that he's the king of bootylicious and all this other shit, and he doesn't think that women are smart enough to see through his phony ass persona. And women are. That's the one thing we Mgtow know this. We don't say it a lot, but we know it. But the basic fact is that women are smart enough to see through your phony ass personas. If you think that you're the God's gift to women, if you think that you're the best creation that God has ever done for women, and that women are stupid if they don't grab you, type of thing, even in the sexual nature, to where you expect the woman to open their legs at 10 and 2, or even at 8 and 2, whatever the hell else, right? That wide open. Basic fact is that I know for a fact, and I know the female the female psyche as well as I know the male psyche. And the basic fact is that no group in general has a person like me. I can help you, men. I've helped many people, both my old female friends, and when I had female friends, and I still do have female friends, but of course they accept me for who I am. But of course, even if they don't have any interest in me in any way, who's to say if they change their mind or not? I don't know. But the basic fact is that I don't go by hypergamies. I don't go by the feminist bullshit that women try to persuade guys into going back into the plantation and saying, "Oh, we won't do it. Oh, I'm not a feminist." I've heard so many of this since I've been with Mgtow. "Oh, I'm not a feminist. I would have never been a feminist." And then suddenly, right, say for example, right when you get pulled into it, then you get treated the same way, where she treats you lower than the piece of dirt that you will eventually feel, and no man deserves that. But the basic fact is that not if many of you go by the base of Alex Fleming, if you go by the same base as the former known Angry Mgtow, if you go by the base of the Mgtow Slayer known as McHenry Cruiser, if you go on those mindsets, you're not doing yourself any better. You're not doing anything beneficial for you at all. And even if you think that it's going to help you with your relationships and even how to cope with your breakups or divorces, it won't. Because eventually it'll come right back up to you again. No matter how many videos of those people that I've mentioned that you watch outside of Mgtow, your emotions will creep up to you again. Thereby, the depression will go even heavier upon you. To the point to where you won't even know how or what way to escape from it or control it better, to where you're able to live your life the best way you can and know how to. I can tell you honestly, I have talked to McHenry, the cruiser, and on Instagram, on the app. Okay, and I've talked to him and told him exactly many positive, psychological, and factual things. and be that, of course, realistic things. He's still he's still going to the points of thinking that he what he calls him to be the hero of women when he's not. Women can see right through that, obviously. And also, he thinks he's the one-man army of trying to tear down Mgtow when he cannot, because Mgtow is a global male-supported, not only philosophy, but also grouping of men who are tired of women's bullshit and hypergamy manipulations and shit like that. And it is in actuality, as I said to him, that he already has burnt his bridge. McHenry has already burnt the bridge to where when he's actually had by by the by any number of women, even in the court system, he has burnt his bridge. He will not be able to join Mgtow. Let's hope that you don't follow the same suit. We believe that men deserve better than what women have been doing to us, and since the late 1980s to early 1990s, even to current. The base of also is that the women are expecting way more than what's realistically logical and possible for them. Yes, we know that they can work, but the basic fact is that when many of them go to the points of working, then they end up going to the points of saving more their money, not spending money on them, not going what's known as Dutch. Even when they date, they expect the guy to pay for every little thing that they want and expect. This is not the 1950s. And the one thing is also women expect this. And I've run into that even online on a number of apps. It is that women expect you, the male, to pay for their plane ticket and send them money cards of gift cards such as the Amazon or iTunes or whatever the hell else. Mm-mm. The basic fact is that if you're not married or in a relationship face to face with a woman, they don't deserve shit. But the basic fact is also is that if they are if they're playing little mind card games like card shark type of games with you, and yet you know this somehow even by watching Mgtow videos, you will see the more than a hypergamy, the illogical actions that women uh, get to the points of mind control, manipulation, and they try to feed you into things that they know that they can get away with. And when you're at work making a hard living for not only you but also them, to where you both can do things together, and you'll find that she will not spend any amount of money while she has you. Instead, well, even if she is working, she'll save the money or spend the money on with her female friends and with her male friends if she has any. And with that, at times her male friends turn out to be her secret lovers. It was said to be true that of men in the 1980s, 70s, and 60s, but it's gotten way worse to where men hardly ever do that ever again. There are a number of men that still do to a point, but they don't. They are a lot more safer than that than they used to be. But more and more women are doing it more so, as if it's some sort of damn payback to the generation of men that did it to their mothers or aunts or whoever, right? The other thing is that the women of today have gone so illogically unbalanced to the points of their indecisiveness and whatnot else, and to where they think they have found a spot for them in society when really they have not. Um, is simply to the points to where they think, well, let's see, I can do this, And then I have the court system. If I have any troubles that are not really troubles, but I'll make it look like it's troubles, because women are emotional creatures. We are still seen, even in society, as the weaker sex. So I can get away with anything I want, even if it doesn't seem realistic and logical to many others. See, that right there is not a good sign, and thereby also by using their knowledge of them being the weaker sex and whatnot, and the fact that they have pussies, they think they can get away with things. They think, if I do this, then the guy will probably have a mindset of thinking that if they do things for me, they think that they'll be able to get in my pants, type of thing, or in my panties, type of thing. That's their mindset right there when it comes to us men. Even those who do favors for them, especially if within the governmental offices. And of course, in the aspect of good servicemanship, they say, okay, we'll see what we can do, and then they eventually go to the points to where making bills pass for women and what have you else. But when those bills eventually don't get reinitialized for the when the expiration date goes up to it, yet women don't realize that either. And also, there's loopholes. There is loopholes in many things, but yet women think that there's loopholes when it comes to men too. There is. If women expect to be treated like human beings when they don't act like human beings most of the time, then guess what? You women don't need to be treated like human beings if you're gonna expect things that are not logical and realistic, and especially when it comes to the base of entitlement, because the base of entitlement will always be like this. It will not be higher for you and lower for them, and it's not going to be higher for you and non-existent for the male. That's the truth. Until women realize that, men, even Mgtow men, will not go to the plantation. And by that point in time, the plantation will be having a different label now, wouldn't it? The feminist movement of the ERA in the 1970s. And yet women think, oh, it was a bill, the Equal Rights Amendment in the 1970s. And get this, ladies, that was not just a fucking bill. Before it became a damn piece of paper, it was known as a feminist movement from 1972 to 1978. Granted, in between 70 and 71, women started gathering. When they started gathering and putting, various things together and agreements and understandings, the way women like to cackle and gossip and shit like that, right? Um, then eventually got to the point to where the more women that would join the group, the stronger they would feel that they got to the points of where they would essentially get what they want. But now it only takes only one woman to do that, not just a whole grouping. One woman can fuck up a guy's life. Yes, the one woman plus her friends and her sisters and her mother. But her mother's not always in the equation. Because the mother can respect the male, even if the woman takes advantage of being her daughter. And many women don't realize the chads that they go into, and and the ones that are act all big shit and whatnot. They end up getting hurt and practically killed, murdered. Let's put it this way: the when it comes to Craigslist, for example, okay, there was a an ad put out by a male. This happened a number of years ago. And he put out an ad of sorts, but yet, guess what? When the number of women answered that on Craigslist, the women were never heard from again. This later went on to the news media pretty heavily. Craigslist got sued for it and fined for allowing such of an ad from the person that posted it, even if it was a friend of the person. Now, ladies, you need to realize men can go to that point because you women don't know shit of what you truly want. You claim that you do when you're in your teens and 20s and whatnot, but yet you don't. It's due to your indecisiveness. And when it comes to your indecisiveness, ladies, that can completely fuck up your emotions from within you. It's a psychological aspect. It may seem like it's easy enough to control and handle, but it's not. Because if it was, then you wouldn't. Then let's put it this way: the divorce rate in this country would not be as high as it is currently, even today. And yes, there wouldn't be need any for your stupid feminist movement bullshit and the Me Too movement bullshit, and possibly, I'm not going to say for sure, but possibly the Mgtow philosophy wouldn't be around. But you've made it so that there's a reason and there's a need for Mgtow because of your indecisiveness and your hypergamy bullshit and various other things that you have done in the sense of manipulation and control and expect to be the one to wear the pants, metaphorically speaking, and instead of being really truthfully true to the man that you claim that you really truly love, or have claimed to even in front of him that you really love, and you've even said right in front of his friends, in front of his family, and in front of his sisters and brothers and cousins and nieces and nephews that you really love their uncle or brother, however else, and sons, then you turn around and fucking fuck him over by cheating on him or doing him wrong in any other aspects, especially even after marriage, even during marriage. Uh-uh. You don't fucking fuck with shit like that. And yet I know you women have done it because you think it's a payback base. You think you deserve more than you really do. On top of that, and the basic fact is that women don't deserve more than the man. It doesn't matter what gender you are. You will get the same amount and percentage, whether you like it or not, as us men. You will get the same privileges as us men. You get the same privileges as us men, except for the one thing. There's never been a wage gap. I know even the media claims, oh, women still think that there's a wage gap, and the wage gap on this, and the wage gap on this, and the wage gap on that. It's a fucking ploy that you have put into the mindset of the Democratic Party, in which basically is making them lose big time. You want the government to fucking subsidize your hypergamy bullshit and your other nonsense, just so you can feel that you've been heard. You've been heard in many other ways without involving the government, and without involving any particular type of force, especially the police force and the government, and also the state law, counties and cities laws and whatnot else, and the support systems. I mean, hell, you've already got the fucking course, ladies. That's all you really need. But logically, I know there have been times to where the guy wins over you in the court system, but that's hardly ever done. That's that's almost nearly to every so often type of thing. It's mostly the fact that the courts have been supporting your feminist asses, ladies. I know I shouldn't be saying this because I'm a Mormon, but basic fact is that the one thing is I'm telling the truth. Heavenly Father Himself wants every man and woman to love, respect, support, and all the positive things, right? Especially in the Bible. Um, but you ladies think you're doing that by the non-realistic aspects and levels. You're not. By using the guy for everything he has, especially when it comes to his resources and bank account and whatnot else, expecting him to spend more on you than he does on himself. That's one other aspect. Bad move there, ladies. And expecting him to do what you want versus what he wants to do, and with the fact that as long as he knows it wouldn't be cheating, he if he wanted to hang out with his friends and you hang out with your lady friends. But the one thing is, when you mostly when you hang out with your lady friends and you're married, you end up cheating on him after you get completely plastered off your ass, don't you, ladies? Most of you do. Maybe not a percent, maybe a particular moderate to small percentage of you don't, but the moderate to maybe a mid high percentage you do end up that way, and you don't, and a number of you don't feel guilt due to that, and the ones that do expect the guy to forgive you, married or not. Instead of saying, "Well, I can't drink that much," then because I'm married and I don't want nothing to happen to where I end up getting fucked by another man that I'm not married to. That's what you should be doing, ladies, by watching how much you drink, to where you don't get fucked by any other man that you're not married to, except for the man that you are married to, and the man that you are truthfully going with in a relationship. And because if you want to be going to the points to where you feel free and fancy free and all of the whatnot, then you should not be in a relationship because you're obviously emotionally and psychologically not ready to settle down. And those at the times that you end up being ready are times to where guys aren't really that attracted to you. It's not always the way you look or anything else. It's your lifestyle changes to the points where it's not really worth being around, because eventually you end up getting pregnant by some other asshole you fucked around with, while you were in a relationship or marriage or not, with another person. Tom Leykis has spoken of this. He's spoken of this in many different ways, many different levels, many different aspects, and venues and whatnot. Yet many of you women have called him and bitched at him because he spoke the damn truth about you women. So as we have with Mgtow, in Mgtow, we have voiced the positive and logical and realistic thing of you women and about you women, and yet you still bitch and moan. And then the one thing is also, when you start saying, "Oh, we women don't need men," but later on you eventually eat your words and regret saying that, even on TV, even in front of everybody that you know, because you want someone to be with you, and all this romantic mumbo jumbo, and then you fucking, right when you fucking get one, you fucking take him for almost for practically everything he has and pay for it with his own money, even in the best of divorce. You fucking string him along essentially until that point. That's not a way to be. That's a fucking sin when it comes to Heavenly Father. If you really want to be truthful, like in accordance to the Bible, I can guarantee there's only one person to follow that by. Not only myself, even though I'm single currently, happily single and one person that I know. Well, actually, two people I know. That is part of my church. I'm not going to say their names, but I can guarantee you, if you follow their base of relationships to where they've been around for a long, they've been with each other, and they've been supportive of each other. They've stuck with each other for several years, even before I knew them. Even as began to know them. And yes, in that point I was married, yes, but I still know them, even though they're in a different state. I'm not going to, and for the respect of them, I'm not going to mention the state. But they were in the same state that I am in at one point, and they are still together to this day. It is. I know it's easy to say that, but the basic fact is that if you follow the same base with no high expectations, no illogical shit, right? Then who's to say? Maybe men will come back to the plantation ever so gradually, but I'm not going to guarantee that because many men have gotten to the points to where they're more than sick and tired of female manipulation and whatnot else. The hypergamist bullshit as well. And your continuous indecisiveness and expectations of high entitlements and whatnot. That's the truth. And to the simps, I'm saying this directly to those who hate Mgtow and expect Mgtow to change their ways. We're not. We are not going to turn around and say what women want us to say just to line up guys back to the plantation and to where women can take advantage of every guy to the point where they end up in the streets or dead. Even after the woman takes them for everything they have. Even emotionally and psychologically. Mgtow's not about that, and I'm not about that. So, to McHenry Cruz, you have burnt your bridge. You know now that you cannot outsmart me in any level. I have shown that to you on Instagram chat. And it's been more than a day since you've responded back to what I last said. In which was, and I know Mr. Hate Vicious will love this part, brother Mr. Hate Vicious will like this. Get to it though. The last thing I said, and Mr. Hate Vicious will love this one when I know that, and that is, let's see, the last thing I said, to the very last thing that I said that hasn't gotten a response, which I don't really expect a response from McHenry Cruiser at all. I said, McHenry, it is thought at times, if one truly understands the human psyche, it can also help them understand themselves as well. And that rings true every time. And if you want to really understand the human psyche, you blue-pilled simps and feminist Me Too movement little witches, you can talk to me. And you can talk to my brothers of Mgtow. And if they are not able to do it, I'm sure they can direct you to me and onto Logical Psychiatry Facebook page. And Logical Mgtow Facebook page. And I'm not going to say when, but I do plan to possibly do a live stream exactly, but I'm not sure exactly if how long it'll be till I do one. but it is an actuality. The other thing is, logical psychiatry is one that is a Mgtow first. It's still known as Mgtow first. I can tell you that. But the one thing is also, we don't claim to know all things as Heavenly Father, our Heavenly Father and our Savior do. But the basic fact is, we know what we have experienced and are even experiencing, even when it comes to women and the hypergamous manipulations that they've done and have and are still doing to many men, and they have done and tried to succeed in doing to even us. Expeladon has had Mgtow brother. Expeladon has had many conversations with women that don't claim to be feminists, but yet they are, and they still expect the same fairy tale bullshit type of scenario, like they read or like they were read by their parents or grandparents or legal guardians, in the sense of, oh, Snow White and the Cinderella, the when the clock strikes 12 type of bullshit. The Prince Charming affirmation on every Disney fairy tale, practically. You realize, ladies, that, and not very many of, if any of you know this, and I know if Mr. Hate Vicious, my brother, my Mgtow brother essentially read this, and many of my Mgtow brothers read this, and even it's even been said on The Big Bang Theory, that the real story of Cinderella got to the points to where the evil stepsisters actually cut off their toes just to fit the damn slipper that the prince essentially brought over to Cinderella's current place of residence. It might be also theorized that the slipper didn't fit them except for Cinderella herself, according to the original storyline. That's the truth, too. You may be able to look it up and find out for yourself, but I can guarantee you there might be some gory ass shit on there. Who's to say? That right there also shows that women are more desperate than they think that we men are when it comes to the aspect of relationships and wanting to be with somebody and all this other bullshit, you know. Something to think about, though, isn't it? And McHenry and all the blue-pilled simps that hate Mgtow. You've burnt your bridges. The ones that are starting to still hate Mgtow and have not really made themselves well known as McHenry and many other simps have, even via YouTube, as possibly as well as BitChute. Um, you don't want to make yourselves known to the points to where you will eventually eat your words, like McHenry will eventually, and you don't want to go to the points of suicidal aspects of depression, aspects and levels of depression, even after you've practically, if not totally and nearly, given up on life and living. But the one thing I do say is this: really pay attention to what we Mgtow say. Yes, Mgtow is mostly a philosophy. Mgtow is also a supportive grouping, but we only see it more of a philosophy. In general facts, it's both, because there's a whole bunch of men that are going in with us. Because, like I said, they eventually get tired of the bullshit and manipulation and psychological negative crap that women have put on to them and done to them. And it's not always due to the base of feminism, but a percentage of it is mostly. A good, moderate, if not same level of the percentage. And if you want to know more, please do let me know, and we can talk even on Logical Mgtow and Logical Psychiatry on both my Facebook pages. But first off, I ask that every blue pill simp that has not made themselves well known, and the ones that have come on to watch our Mgtow videos, keep watching. Also listen to Tom Likas videos on YouTube. You'll see the things that we Mgtow say and have said correlate in many different ways and levels, as Tom Likas has even said in the 1990s when he was on broadcasted radio in Los Angeles, California. This is Logical Mgtow Spock. Please stay safe, please stay sane, and live long and prosper.